Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, people of all ages, welcome back to the Sticky Floors podcast. I am one of your hosts, CJ. I am joined by Mr. Will, and tonight we are talking about the Bruce Lee classic, Enter the Dragon. So, just so everybody knows from the beginning, we are not going to try to do who's better between Bruce Lee and Jet Li or Jet Li and Ip Man and whoever Jackie Chan. We not doing that. And
Oh,
Donnie
I can't
Young.
forget Donnie Young,
Yeah,
man.
yeah, can't say we're not doing that. We're not doing could Bolo Young bench more than Arnold Schwarzenegger. We're not doing those competitions tonight. This is not the barbershop conversation talk for the movies. We're gonna talk about the movie Enter the Dragon. So, Mr. Will, so we can get into this properly. Can give everybody just a quick overview of what Enter the Dragon is about, in case you did not see it when
Yeah.
it came out in 1973.
Yes, sir. Oh man, this is the best, man. We're gonna have a good time tonight. So with no further ado, Enter the Dragon is regarded as Bruce Lee's magnum opus and released on January 1st of 1973. It is the quintessential and definitive martial arts film. The audience is brought along this epic journey of revenge, retribution, and justice. We follow Shaolin monk, played by Bruce Lee, who is recruited to an undercover operation going to a tournament on an island hosted by the reclusive millionaire and former Shaolin monk named Han. He's played by Shi Ken. Han's suspected of being the head of a drug running, in this case heroin, and prostitution empire. Lee agrees to take on the assignment. However, his true motivation is to exact revenge for the death of his sister, Su Yin, played by Angela Mao, at the hands of Han's bodyguard, O'Hara, played by Robert Wall.
There it is, man. There it is. This is I mean, we're gonna get into this. There's so many things that this movie has influenced
Yeah,
when you're
definitely.
talking about other movies, video games, all those things. But before we get to that, I just want to wind the clock back. And this is something that I know you'll remember. And it's Saturday morning,
Woo!
afternoon martial arts on Fox 5.
Yes.
So me and Mr. Will grew up in New Jersey, and on Saturday afternoons you could watch martial arts movies
Yeah.
all afternoon long. And I just watching this, it just made me it just reminded me of that nostalgia of watching those movies and then going outside and doing martial arts movies with your friends. Yo, everybody wanted to be a martial artist. Like, everybody wanted to learn kung fu.
Everybody was kung
It
fu fighting, man.
Everybody, come on, man. The Five Deadly Venoms, you would
Woo!
watch those. It was, I mean, they inspired Wu-Tang Clan
Are
music.
you
Like,
crazy?
it was so many things that came as a result of martial arts being exposed to the world on a consistent basis. And at the epicenter of that is Bruce Lee,
Definitely.
right? So you
Definitely.
can't, there is no conversation about martial arts movies without starting with Bruce Lee as
Definitely.
the person that kicked down the doors and absolutely was the trailblazer for it. And we got to talk a little bit about Bruce. I know you have some things you want to share about this, but let's talk. Let's give the man his flowers, because he deserves it and he earned it.
Well, I think, man, just his impact from a social, cultural, uh, I mean, athletic. I mean, he's the reason. I would argue, he's the reason why there is mixed fighting or UFC or any of that, because he studied so many different styles. I mean, I'm not probably not talking about anything that anybody hasn't seen already with the countless documentaries, whether it be the autobiographical movies, you
Mm-hmm.
name it. There's a plethora of material out there that goes into heavy, heavy detail about the influence of Bruce Lee. But nonetheless, this man was a cultural phenomenon. Started off born here in the US, family went back to China, came back this way due to some troubles. This guy was a philosopher, graduated with a degree in philosophy. He was a businessman, entrepreneur, catering to famous people from you name it, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar to
Mhm.
Jane's to one of the actual individuals who co-stars in this movie. Also, want to say rest in power to James Saxon. I mean,
John Saxon,
John
yep.
Saxon. Like you can run down the list of all the people that he's helped inspire to want to pursue martial arts, staying fit, to wanting to be philosophical and pontificate about different walks of life. I mean, this guy from the series of The Warrior, which once showed on Showtime and then went to HBO, which is his story that he wrote, being the memory of his daughter keeping that alive, Shannon, to his own son in the movies, The Crow, and Heart. Is it Heart?
Rapid Fire.
Rapid
Rapid
Fire.
Fire.
I
Yep, I
mean,
remember Rapid Fire,
yeah,
yep.
I mean, like this guy. I mean, even David Kane owes him a debt of gratitude with the character of Kane and
Mhm.
being a Shaolin monk. Bruce Lee wrote that to Hornet. To the Green Hornet.
Green Hornet.
Like
Yep.
this man has kicked down doors, even to where you have a mockery of him in the latest Quentin Tarantino movie, in which
Once
Brad
Upon
uh,
a Time in Hollywood, yep.
Brad
Yeah, which offended a lot of
of
people.
course, because there's no
Yeah,
way that a stuntman is going to beat
gonna beat
Bruce Lee
Bruce Lee.
just so easily and whimsical. Um,
Yeah.
I mean, I could go on and on for days, but definitely, I personally wouldn't be the person I am if it wasn't for the influence of Bruce Lee, whether it be my love of action movies, martial arts, Japanese animation, Chinese animation, like manga, even all the way down to the people in my family who I'd like to think I've helped to gravitate towards those fields as well, man.
Yeah, it's no question. I mean, Bruce is a trailblazer,
Yeah,
and he's somebody. And you know the other thing is that he's also one of those people that has now reached a point where it transcends even the industry that he started in. So even if you don't know anything about martial arts, you know about Bruce Lee.
you
You've heard
know,
of Bruce Lee.
everyone knows
Right.
Bruce Lee.
He's created, like you said, there's a documentary that gets made about Bruce Lee every 10 years. There's a new movie or show every 5 years, right? And you watch them because of just how electric and magnetic the actual person is. And then these actors are trying to capture that persona. When you watch the man in this movie, you're like, man, this dude is electric.
I mean,
Every scene, you have to keep your eyes on him.
of course. I mean, think about it like this. With his untimely passing, they had guys named Bruce Lee and Bruce Lee.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah. I saw, yeah,
this is
yeah.
this is
Yep,
crazy. Like you had so many
yep,
people trying, even in his own movie, in the last movie, The Game of Death. Like part of it is another guy playing Bruce Lee who's playing an
yeah,
actor. Like that's
yeah.
crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah, absolutely. And like like how they have Michael Jordan was famous
Yes.
for like that putting his tongue out,
Yeah.
right? And then you have like Ric Flair with the Ric Flair strut, and everybody like knows it. Everybody does the Bruce Lee joint when you make the loud pitch noises and everything, and you like stare at everybody with your eyes wide open. Like everybody gets that
I w-
because of Bruce. Like he's created body movements that everybody knows it. And you're like, as soon as somebody goes, wah, wah, you're like, oh, okay, you trying to be like Bruce Lee. Like it's if you're like anyone who was born in like the 70s and up, you know that. And even like I say, even people don't even know about martial arts movies, know about Bruce Lee.
The crazy thing about that is the movie The Last Dragon borrows upon Enter the Dragon, features Enter the Dragon, as well as a host of other movies
How
Bruce Lee
about
was in.
that? How
So,
about that?
I mean, it's timeless. Everybody knows the influence of Bruce Lee. And I don't know too many people that smile like the one that's on my face, CJ's face, when just mentioning this man, because it literally harkens back to being at home on a Saturday afternoon, big bowl
Yeah,
of cereal.
absolutely.
You would watch cartoons. Obviously, if just like my household, your family's probably playing all the old classics, whether it be Parliament Funk, Marvin Gaye,
Hmm.
Stevie Wonder, Isley Brothers, and you're cleaning up. And then all of a sudden, now you have time to watch the cartoons that you want to watch. So at that time, you're talking about Channel 2, Channel 4, Channel 5,
Yep.
Channel 7, Channel 11, nonstop, giving way to the crescendo of it all, Kung Fu Theater, which shout out to the RZA for having the joint with DJ Scratch called Saturday Afternoon Kung Fu Theater that dropped
That's
last year. So
exactly.
I mean, like
Yeah.
everybody knows the influence. Everyone.
Yeah, it's just an I mean, like, it made so many people want to study the martial arts. Like,
Yes,
I studied the martial arts because of Bruce Lee, like, because of that. Like,
it's crazy.
you just had to do it, So, yeah, so definitely, I mean, like, Bruce deserves all the flowers that he gets.
Definitely.
He did his work, and his work continues to be valuable and relevant. So I know that you wanted to give a special shout out, special
Oh
dedication on
yeah,
this show. So I want to give
yeah,
you a moment to share that with the audience too.
definitely. This is a first for us. And I was telling CJ, man, like Enter the Dragon, Bruce Lee in that same vein. I would know this man from a hole in the wall if it wasn't for my father. So I'm definitely dedicating this show to my pops. He's a little bit under the weather, going through some things, but definitely want to say thank you to him. Uh, definitely express not only my gratitude, my love, and appreciation for basically helping me become the man that I am. I know I'm definitely not done with my work here, but I attribute everything to him. And so if I were to have the book closed today, I know that I wouldn't be where I'm at if it wasn't for building upon his work, his dedication, his love, his respect. Uh, just the quintessential ideal person that I could say like, yeah, he's a good man. Um, He's got his flaws, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying he's perfect, but even with that though, it's led me to be such an admirer because when I was younger, I didn't think that I could attain all the things that he did. Played sports in college, D1, uh, could have gone to a plethora of different schools from Princeton to your local whatever have you, so Ivy League to whatever. I mean, like, my dad has done it all. Uh you name it, migrant farmer to writing computer programs. My dad was the
There
man,
it is.
the man. So shout out
Is
to
the man.
yes, definitely correction. Yeah,
Is
CJ's right.
is the
So
man. That
so shout out
is
to
the
my
man.
dad, man.
Good stuff. Yeah, and like and I one of the things that's really dope about these movies is that these are movies that you can love watch. Like a lot of us, we started watching it with
Yeah.
our dad. This
Mm-hmm.
is like your dad watch
Yeah.
it too, right? It
Yeah.
was also entertaining to him, and then it's entertaining for your friends.
Yep.
What I mean? It's just like a great. These are just great. And action movies used to. They probably still are like that now, but back then it was just the accessibility of it
Mm-hmm.
was just so much different. So, let's jump into this, man, because like you gave the breakdown on the movie, and there's so many things that this movie influences. So like you got this first of all, you got this idea of the tournament,
Mm.
the tournament that pulls together these martial artists from around the world, right? And this has been done so many times.
To death.
I forgot how many movies just use that.
Mm-hmm.
Like how like Bloodsport. Like we're going through them. Bloodsport, Lionheart.
I mean,
Like it's so many
that's the
movies that
crazy
just started from just with that.
that's the
That's
crazy
the whole
part.
movie is a tournament.
Yeah, that's the crazy part, man. Like CJ and I were running down in the pre-production meeting. We could just do a whole Van Damme series based upon this theme of a tournament of individuals coming from all corners of the globe coming together to participate in a tournament. So you talk about the Kumite CJ mentioned in
Mhm.
Bloodsport. He mentioned also oh, one of the classic Van Damme movies that CJ had mentioned with respect to that is not only Bloodsport, but with the twin brothers,
Oh,
I forget that.
Double Impact,
And then also CJ
Double
had
Im
mentioned what's the other movie you had mentioned about the
Kickboxer.
Kickboxer? That's what it is about this.
Kickboxer, they're all like tournament fighting thing, and that's it.
Oh, and you can't
And for what's
forget the Quest too, starring Van Damme.
right, right. And but the thing that I appreciate about this movie is that even though that's kind of the main set piece for all this, the movie doesn't just jump right to there. It
Mhm,
actually builds it up by giving you this early introduction into the philosophy around martial arts.
definitely.
And there's so much like you immediately. One of the things I love about this movie is the idea how it immediately places the martial artist both as a student and as a teacher. So you see Bruce learning and having a master while also being a master to someone else.
Yeah. I think that the thing we tend to overlook in this movie is the fact that he's a Shaolin monk, which means he's
Hmm.
studying under those who, although they may not be physically able to perform the same uh, task that he can, but they're able to provide him with the knowledge and the philosophy behind why those things are implemented in the way that they are, the structure, the mentorship, the camaraderie, the brotherhood. There's a certain ritual that takes place that causes you to be more disciplined, more focused, more attentive.
Hmm.
Um, he even talks about it on their voyage to the island. The skill of fighting without fighting. This is a philosophy.
Yeah, yeah, I
Most
like that.
people
Yeah.
don't see the undertones to that. And CJ made a brilliant point. The fact that he is also now in the position of being a teacher, a master, where
Hmm.
he has his student come while he's in the midst of whether deciding to go undercover for Mr. Braithwaite. Uh, and
Yeah.
and he's teaching this young man to do things with purpose. And the lesson is
Hmm.
so brief, yet it's so impactful because that young man leaves all the more better, all the more wiser. That was redundant. All the wiser for it. Whether it be him telling him to continue to keep his eye on the opponent as he bows, or whether it
Hmm.
be him telling him, don't focus on the finger or you'll miss all the heavenly glory. I mean,
Yeah, I said that to a woman once, and that didn't work out so well.
crash and burn.
Yeah, that didn't. Yeah, I thought I was being profound, but no. It's like like it's like what is it? I tried to show you the stars in the sky, but you were just focusing on the tip of my finger. That's like yeah. I was dumb. I was old enough that I could say that, but I was also young enough to not know that I shouldn't have. It didn't work out well. But I digress. That's my own personal story. Back to what Bruce was trying to do though.
Oh man, the funny thing about CJ's personal anecdote is that's the true definition of a sophomore according to the Greeks, where you know just enough to be dangerous. That's the true etymology of the word sophomore. So you know a little bit,
Mm,
but not enough
mm,
to be a master of it. So
yeah.
hence you have,
I was like 26 though.
and hence you have CJ.
I was a little past sophomore, but yeah, I got it. Thanks for making me feel a little better though.
No doubt, man. That's what we're here for. We help to build up. We're definitely not
Yeah.
trying to destroy, yo. Oh
Yeah.
man.
So Bruce is there, right? And then you mentioned Braithwaite. So Braithwaite comes and he's like, basically he's saying, yo, there was this one dude, Han, who used to be with y'all, but then was like, I want money. I'm on paper now. Like, I don't want to live out here with y'all no more. And I'm ready. I want to get it any way I can.
Trying to get it like
Right.
y'all brothers.
Right, exactly. He just said it like, nah, I'm gonna use it for, and it's so cool because Bruce's master is like, yeah, one of our old students took all of our teachings, but he used them wrong. And I'm like, so hold on, you can use everything you learned there to get rich in a criminal empire? Like, that's the other way it goes. It's
It's one or the
like
other.
there's a million things Han could have done, right? Han could have like opened up a string of car washes. Han
Anything.
could have like
Any
anything. He could have opened up a bunch of like supermarkets. He said, "Nah, I'm gonna start a criminal empire." Like you said in the beginning, and this is amazing. He's gonna run a criminal empire on his own island that includes gun running, prostitution, heroin running. No, heroin, but no guns.
no guns.
There's no, I'm sorry, no guns. He got prostitution, heroin, intimidation,
Oh,
like mafia type stuff.
you can't forget the
No
fact that he
guns.
has cages, jails, prisons of not only
Right.
women that he picks up from random places, whatever have you, hooking them onto drugs, testing a
Mm-hmm.
product on them for the potency, but he also,
Yep.
as he tells uh John Paxton's John Saxon's character, he tells him Roper, he's walking by and he's like, "Who are these guys?" And he's like, "Just some random dudes.
Mm-hmm.
They drinking their troubles away, don't care where they wash up." He keeps them on stock, never running
Yeah.
low.
I have a theory here by watching this that Han is like the forefather of so many villains
Definitely.
of so first of all, Han is like the forefather of the brothers from what's it called? From New Jack City.
Ooh,
Because he creates the first Carter, but it's the
Nino.
island Carter. He's like Nino Brown's forefather. Like Nino Brown should have had a picture of Han on his wall because Han started the initial idea of yo, you can just run the product in the place where the people are, and
Wow.
everybody will be happy.
That's tough right there. I
Also,
never looked at it like him being G Money and Nino.
Han lives in Carmitage. He lives in the place like yo, he lives on the island that Doctor Strange and them is on, man. He lives in that joint. Like I was watching it again. I was like, oh, he's in like, does he have the ring joint? Is he gonna do that joint? Because like he lives in the island. And if it's not enough, Han has his own Dora Milaje.
He was Marvel
He
before
rolled,
Marvel.
yo, he's the forefather to Black Panther, Nino Brown, and the Ancient One. They all should pay homage to
All
Han
in
because
one.
Han is the father of their style. That's what I'm saying. Like
He was-
he's the father of this style. Like give the man his flowers, man.
yeah.
Han,
This guy.
Han's one of the greatest villains of all time. He's one of the greatest movie villains ever, man.
Yo, this dude said he is not only the ancient one, but Black Panther T'Challa himself, as well as Doctor Strange.
T'Chaka. He's the guy who gave T'Chaka his
Uh,
style. The first Panther about Bashenga.
oh
Bashenga got
yeah,
it from
yeah, from Han.
Han. Han got it from him. Cause that whole he got his own Dara Milaje. I was watching, I was like, that's where that came from. It's 1973. Like,
Oh,
get a
oh,
man his props,
yo,
man.
that's classic.
He's a villain's villain, man.
Yo,
He's a villain's villain.
shout out to Han, yo. Woo.
Shout out to Han, man, for doing his thing. But yeah, so I mean, so then you talked about some of the other folks that are in this. We got to talk a little bit about the character of Williams.
Oh man,
We got to spend some time in it. I know you got a lot. Like run it down, run Williams down for
look,
us just
man.
real quick, man.
First of all, shout out, yo, rest in power to Jim Kelly, the first and only Jim Kelly. This man,
Mm-hmm.
from his swagger to his style. Jay-Z has a line on American Gangster where he says, you know, he's looking pretty in his suit. Nah, Jim Kelly in the red joint coming across the street, almost getting ran over
Mm-hmm.
by that car, but dipping
Yeah, at the
between the
beginning of the
joint.
movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, when it said featuring Williams. Right, right,
No,
right.
that's Jim Kelly, man. Yo, first of all, this man was a true martial artist in its
Mm-hmm.
utmost form, winning countless tournaments, and that's what actually got him noticed and getting his break in Enter the Dragon. Then you have the classic scene where he's walking into the dojo, and when I was a kid, I was like, well, what does this have to do with anything? Why is he walking into the dojo? Well, little did I know that that is a true dojo in California, specifically the BKF, the Black Karate Foundation, started by
Shout out.
Steve Sanders Muhammad. So that Mr. Sanders Muhammad is the gentleman that you actually see Jim Kelly go and bow to. That gentleman
Mm-hmm.
across from him. That's him, and he's the truest martial artist in its utmost form. Um, with respect to Jim Kelly, I mean, you're talking about someone who was in his own words, Mr. Kelly, your style is unorthodox. Yeah, but it's
But it's
effective.
effective.
I
How
mean,
about that?
and so you have to take it a step further. Here's a man who stood about 6'1", 6'2", lanky, thin, approximately about 190, and he managed to fit his style where you were accustomed to the transition of Bruce Lee doing the flip over the monks in the opening part of the scene where he's small in stature and light. They were able to manage and take the gifts that they had and incorporate it in a manner that best suited them. He didn't try to be
Mm-hmm.
Bruce; he tried to be himself. Uh,
Yes.
you're talking about not only him being himself, but he had the charisma, the stage presence, the
Yeah.
bravado. Man, you're talking about an era during the 70s where literally the coolness of black people created its own genre, aka black exploitation films. And to me
Mm-hmm.
personally, Jim Kelly was the epitome of that swagger, that vibe, if you will, the terms that the younger generation uses. I mean, like, to me, this man, he could do no harm, do no wrong, the epitome of black manhood and manhood as a whole. I mean, so much so that the Boondocks puts him in there not once, not twice, three times that I can count off just the top
Yep.
of my head as Broshido Brown. I mean,
Yeah, the greatest black karate man of all time.
fun.
Yeah, I mean, and the thing that you were telling me earlier, that this was the first movie he was in.
Yeah.
You would never know that. Like he
Mm-mm.
has a he has a great movie presence. And there's, I mean, like, this movie brings together and has people doing martial arts in it that were martial artists,
Well, see,
which is like
s-
a really great thing for this movie, because this is back before you could, like, try to choreograph, teach people to do martial arts. So they needed real martial arts to be able to do this, and that's why somebody like Jim Kelly's in there. And like you said, the top John Saxon, also a trained martial artist.
uh, to take it even a step further, there's no wire work involved. This is all actual stunt work done by the actual actors themselves in the same vein that they are working with a martial arts team. I mean, just to backtrack for a minute. So, because I definitely want to give praise and the utmost respect to the Jim Kellys that were the forefathers, but I also want to shine some light on those that people may know nowadays. So we're talking about, you can literally chase the lineage in cinema from these great black actors like a Jim Kelly to, you have a Steve Jones, you have, and rest in power Steve Jones, you have Wesley Snipes, you have Michael J. White, you even have Billy Blanks, you even have
I remember Billy Blank.
I mean think about
Yeah, I
this.
remember.
There's so many individuals who go unnoticed and unrecognized for their contributions. I mean, I I already mentioned the BKF, but just to run down a brief list of individuals who I think should get some kudos, um, man, we're talking about, like I mentioned, Jim Kelly, but he also had to study elsewhere too. So give me 1 minute just to go through my notes.
And while you're doing that, I just want to say that, you also have the woman who plays Bruce Lee's sister.
Hmm.
Like, she's also a trained martial artist. I
Angela
know you
Mao.
have the name. Yeah, Angela Mao. And, like, it just, I think all of that helps to lend a level of authenticity to every martial arts scene. And then once again, I do have to say, even with all these trained martial artists, there's a lot of this movie that has no fighting in it whatsoever, but it doesn't lose the pacing of the movie as a result.
And think about that too. The speed in which all of these punches and kicks are thrown in real time. These are real kicks. People are actually getting hit with real blows.
Mhm.
And to the point where I've read that how Bruce Lee, they had to slow him down, ask him to slow down because the camera couldn't keep up with the speed of his punches. Imagine that.
How about that?
That's
How about that?
that sounds crazy.
Yeah.
Sounds
Now,
preposterous.
when you watch stuff, it's like, is that being sped up? Is the question that you're
Think
asking
about that.
when you're watching it? Yeah.
But definitely, I want to give a shout out to George Cofield. I want to talk about, give a shout out to George Harris, Thomas LaPuppet, um, Ronald Duncan, uh, obviously the Black Karate Foundation, the co-founders being Jerry Smith, Cliff Stewart, Ron Chappell, Steve Sanders, Muhammad that I mentioned, Donnie Williams, Carl Armelin, Curtis Pulliam, uh, obviously Jim Kelly himself, Fred Hamilton. We have Moses Powell, Vic Moore. Uh,
Mm.
I mean, like, I could go on and on and on, from Fred Williamson himself, Pam Grier being a practitioner, even Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, as evident in Game of Death. But
Game of Death, right? Yep.
definitely a
Yep.
special shout out to Mr. Ron Van Cleef, who most affectionately was known as the Black Dragon. He was American martial artist, acclaimed from Hollywood to Hong Kong, uh, renowned for countless kung fu movies that he was in from the 1970s, born in Brooklyn, New York, former Marine. Thank you for your service. Distinguishing career, on and on and on. Studied with so many countless masters, from Peter Urban, Frank Ruiz, Moses Powell, who I mentioned before,
Yep.
Wing Chun Grandmaster Leung Ting. He practiced with Brazilian Jiu Jitsu, Joe Moera, modern artists with Remy Prazas. This man literally would continue fighting in 1994 at the age of 51 in UFC fighting and winning. So you're talking about from Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu artists, wrestling, grappling, and he was still able to emerge out on top. So, and he's on countless magazines, from black belt to karate, you name it. He's been there and done that. So I definitely want to give recognition to those who uh, kind of fly under the radar, or who are not household names like a Bruce Lee, but definitely giving those boys and girls like I was, who had no inkling that black people fought using martial arts. And hence the reason why I'm also shouting out my dad, because he actually told me at a young age, like, hey, these people look like you, perform these tasks too. It wasn't just limited to one culture, one country altogether. And he even took it a step further, telling me that its origins were actually in Africa. So uh, I just can't heap enough praise upon my dad, yet shining light on these practitioners of the martial arts.
Absolutely, absolutely, and I think the martial artist, and it's something that that actually Han says in the, and he says he's got the line where he says like, we are all people, we create ourselves,
Mm,
because the martial artist has to hone their skills over time. They don't, no one starts off as a black belt. You start off as a white belt and you have to earn everything that you get. And it's really, I mean, the martial arts, like as you, if you've ever studied it, it is about life. It is about the progression of life, about learning, about discipline, about failure, success, progress. And the best part is that there really is no ending. Like you
mm,
never become the master of
mm.
whatever the style is, because the style is always evolving, just like you're always evolving, just like life is always evolving. So I really appreciated in this movie that the philosophical notes never leave the movie. Even from the very beginning, when Bruce's master tells him that, you know, you have to destroy the image and then you will break the enemy. And that
Mm.
becomes the point at the end. He's got to break the mirrors in order to defeat Han. So, you know, like I said, like the martial arts is amazing, but then there's also this really great story and movie that's happening at the same time. And it's a credit to the entire cast and the directors that they're able to pull something like this together.
Definitely. It's
And
it's a crazy journey,
but
man. Crazy journey in which CJ talked about not only the philosophical benefits from studying and practicing martial arts to the obvious, the health benefits, but it's just so cool, man. You look
it
so
looks
you
good.
just look so cool. I mean, it actually
It does.
reminds me of a personal narrative where a friend of ours back in high school was actually a practitioner, a very devoted one at that time because of John Claude Van Damme, and uh, let's just say he was challenged as kids do, by another associate of ours, and so they say, "Hey, meet you at 3 o'clock after school up on the hill." And like most stereotypes, everyone's yelling, "Fight, fight, fight." So we do our little march along up to the hill. And I kid you not, everyone is like ready and tense and the drama's building up. And you know how, well, maybe it's just me, but you know how individuals say, "Oh, that kung fu stuff doesn't work in a real
Yeah,
live,"
everybody
everybody
says
says
that.
street karate or
That's why everybody says you gotta use fight. Like boxing is the
boxing
only thing that
style.
works. That might work in a real fight. Yeah.
Well, not this time.
Or Brazil or BJJ. People do say BJJ works also
No.
in judo.
Well, I wouldn't know much about those particular styles. I just know what I witnessed that day of my high school career, in which our friend opened up with a flying knee kick, a la Jean Claude Van Damme, to this individual's torso, neck, head area. Then he proceeded with a roundhouse kick, a la Bruce Lee, telling his student, "Kick with purpose." And
hmm
my our friend took it to heart and did so with purpose. He proceeded to unleash one of the most brutal butt kickings I have ever seen, and I've witnessed
That's
professional
crazy.
fights in real life
That's crazy. With the martial arts.
with the
That's
martial arts.
crazy.
And this,
Yeah,
th-
I bet like 10 people went and joined a dojo after that fight that day, man.
I don't know about all that, but what I do know is this: the cool kids gave him instantaneous respect for the remainder
There it
of our high
is.
school career.
There it is. Yeah, if you can listen, if you can fight, you always get props in school, man. That's
Definitely.
at least back in the day. I don't know what it's like now. But look, man, so props wise, yo, let's talk about the props that we want to give to this movie and the cake. So I got a bunch of things, but there's a couple that I just want to lift up here.
Yeah.
Number one, yo, shout outs to Bruce's suit game in this joint,
Ooh.
man. Yo, Bruce said that he could see, like, he was like, nah, in my budget, I gotta have a couple of suits. And I want fly joints, three-piece joints, not like a black suit.
Nope.
They already got the dude already got the red suits. I can't do that. I want this olive joint. I want this brown joint. Like, yo, shout outs to Bruce's suit game. Yo, shout out to the idea of having the main three characters be a
Mm,
Chinese man, a white man, and a black man, and giving them all their time to shine in the film. I think that's brilliant. Like just doing that in the course of this movie, it doesn't feel forced.
nope.
If you try to do this now, they would say, "Oh, this is a woke movie." But
Mhm.
this is 1973, and the producer directors they just knew that this works because it's a good story. And the thing is that all three characters are distinct on their own, but
Mm,
they're also interesting and engaging on their own as well.
definitely.
So I love that. And then my last cake, I'm gonna give a shout out to the fight between Bruce and O'Hara because
Mm,
I love that because like obviously like you said, Bruce is getting revenge because O'Hara was a part of a crew that was actually trying to gang rape his daughter. I mean
his
his
sister.
sister, who then killed herself to avoid it. And Bruce becomes aware of this. And I love like how Bruce is like, I'm just gonna stomp this dude out. Like I'm not gonna make this look like a fight. Like my sister beat like 12 of your men. I'm better than her. I'm gonna
Mm.
beat you in like 2 seconds. And then of course he ends him in the end. I just love that. That's my cake. What you got on the cake side?
Oh man. I don't know if I have a cake or if I have a bakery because this joint is off the hook for me, son. I'm going with the quotes. First and foremost. We've already touched upon, the finger scene, keeping his head down and bowing. Don't
Hmm.
talk. I mean, don't think, feel. Like
Yeah,
just the opening
feel. Yep.
scene itself. But the one line that stands out for me is Jim Kelly telling Han, I'll be too busy looking good. Like just the way he
Hmm.
said it, the confidence, the way it rolled off his tongue. Oh man, this dude, he was in classic form, man. I'm so appreciative of all of these individuals who were able to just flow so seamlessly with their lines and their dialogue. Um,
Hmm.
my style, I call it the style of fighting without fighting. We are unique, gentlemen, as CJ talked about, in that we create ourselves through long years
Yep.
of rigorous training, sacrifice, denial, pain. We forge our
Hmm.
bodies in the fire of our own will. You have offended my family and you have offended the Shaolin Temple. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Classic lines. Classic.
I mean, I
Classic.
could go on and on and on. But I definitely got to get this line right. I don't waste my time with it. When I'm busy good, it comes, I won't even notice. Like
Yeah.
that
Talking
line
about
is so
defeat.
classic, man. Like major props to Jim
Yeah.
Kelly, man. Rest in power to
Yeah.
Jim Kelly, man.
He was wrong though, because Han gave him that
He
work.
did
Han gave him
he gave him
that
that
work.
business.
He's like, oh word?
He did.
Oh, really? You think you're gonna look good? I'm gonna show you. I got you gonna learn today.
Hey, I'm sure he had second thoughts, man, because he did waste
Yo,
his time with it. Because when it came,
listen,
he was not he was not on
listen.
notice.
He ain't know he was about to face the king of
Mm-mm.
Wakanda. He didn't know that. He didn't know
He had
he
no
didn't know he was about to face.
he had no
So okay, so
idea.
that's right. So that's the cake. All right. So hate, I don't really have much. But two things though. One, we just kind of talked about a little bit. Yo, Han's hand, the metal hand, when he takes the glove off after he beat up Williams, right? His hand is like it looks like a little baby hand. It doesn't even look like. I just think like they could have made Han's hand more impressive than
Mm,
it was. It was like a little baby hand, like it was like almost like it was like a little lock that was like wrapped up in a little
yeah.
glove. It's a small little nitpicky thing, but I just didn't like that. And then, yo, I didn't like that Roper beat Bolo Young. I didn't like that. I just thought that that's not good. Like, yeah, I know Roper. First, Roper, okay, fine. You're a martial artist. But Bolo Young is Bolo Young. That's every time I see him, like, that's Tong Po.
Mhm.
Bolo can't beat Tong Po. Only person that can beat Tong Po is John Claude Van Damme. That's just the way it does it. I just believe that in real life, if Tong Po was beating everybody, you would have to call John Claude Van Damme to come and beat him at any age, at any place. So I just didn't like that. I know that that had to happen because of the movie, but nah, I'm
You
not buying
you know the crazy thing about that is John Claude Van Damme is 63 years old this year, and they praises due that he's alive. Bolo Young Z is his real name, Yang Z rather. He's 77.
it. How about that?
That's crazy. That's
He's
crazy.
still probably beating
And he's
people up.
still beating people up. But I
Hmm.
also want to give a shout out or just comment on another pieces of cake that I like, which was the abundance of the individuals who are actually in this movie that are real professional martial artists. We've talked about the main characters and even the side
Hmm.
characters, but I don't think people realize that Jackie Chan is in this flick as a side as a
Yeah,
henchman.
yeah. You know what? I remember when you mentioned that,
Yeah,
and I completely forgot about that note, man.
yeah,
That's, I mean, that's like a good. Did you know?
yeah.
And like, yeah, because no, I didn't know that. It almost, well, since I had to buy it on Amazon Prime in order to be able to watch it, I might go back. I might go back and watch it again just to find that part where he's in it.
And speaking of which, on Amazon Prime, you could literally catch this movie on Apple TV. I have Direct TV. You can catch it there, A Channel 82 Bounce or Direct TV Cinema. You can also catch it on YouTube for $3.99.
Oh, that's right. I could
Yes,
have bought it
so
there. I could
it's
have got it
widely
there. Yeah,
available, which is dope.
yeah,
We're talking about a movie that's 51 years old. I mean,
yeah,
literally about
yeah.
it's
And
crazy.
still holds up,
Oh,
and it still holds up too,
it's
and that's the thing, it's not, it doesn't feel dated
no,
even though so, and this is probably the oldest movie that we've covered on this show since we started doing it,
but it feels so
because
fresh.
1973,
Yeah,
yeah, I mean, like, but I think that's a credit to the storytelling, is
definitely.
that it still feels so relevant, and like you said, I mean, it's an inspiration to so many of the movies that we see today, so the revenge story. There's so many movies that are doing that right now. Matter of fact, the joint that's about to come out tomorrow, Monkey Man, like
Yes, yes.
revenge martial arts, revenge story, right? It's there. John Wick. We talked about. We also talked about like, the influence on video games, Street Fighter, Tekken, Wu Tang. Like it's so many things that just reinforce the relevance of this film. That that's why it's so beloved.
I think just to piggyback off of that feeling, that sense of being beloved by millions upon millions, generations upon generations, is that this movie literally is so timeless. And what I mean by that is it flows organically, whether it be the individuals who are oozing charisma, who are so just well liked and beloved, who are just able to navigate the waters wherever they're from. I mean, Jim Kelly literally is about to get harassed by the cops, takes on two, breaks their
Mm.
nightsticks, and tosses them and makes off with their whip. I mean,
And steals their car. I know.
now think about that.
He stole the police
He
car,
he,
yeah.
he bounced
Yo,
on him like
I had so much respect. I had so much respect for this movie to show racial profiling in 1973, just so everybody knew that it was always going on.
I mean,
It's always been going on.
and it talks about the vices. Who knows? CJ mentioned this himself. These guys are on a boat, cargo boat at that, and they're gambling on praying mantis. And
Yo,
if
if you're anywhere where people are gambling on the outcome of two insects fighting against each other, you're around people with gambling problems. Like you have a problem, you call 1-800 Gamblers Anonymous, they'll come and get you, put you in a class and a program because you got a problem. Like, come on, that was crazy. It's funny, it was
but
entertaining,
it's
but it's
crazy.
also crazy.
Thinking about
It's
that
also crazy.
thinking about that too is the fact that this movie, on a serious note, pays homage to family. You're talking about the traditions. Bruce Lee goes to honor his his mom and his sister, and he's literally apologizing where he says to them, "This goes against everything that Su Lee believed in and everything you taught me. Please forgive me for what I'm about to do."
Hmm.
This shows the
Yeah,
utmost respect and honoring your ancestors and carrying them with you and having a real conversation with them as if they're in the room or standing next to you. There's so
yeah,
much to love about this
absolutely,
movie. Yet,
very true.
the only thing I disliked about it was Williams dying, that is. I can't believe this cat got beat up and then thrown away like some rubbish,
Yeah,
like a piece of chewing
yeah.
gum.
Yeah, Han gave him that work though, man. Han gave him that official. He gave him that official program,
I'm
man.
so
He gave him that Black Panther, Doctor Strange joint, man.
so disappointed. But with that
He
said,
gave him the Carter 4 joint. He gave him that.
But with
Like,
that
like
said,
you
man,
know,
he made a very memorable cameo featurette. Uh, just it led to so many different things for him and for countless others, more importantly. So thank you.
absolutely, Absolutely. All right. So I got a couple of questions for you
All right.
about this. So some of these are in within movie. Actually, two or three of these are actually in the movie.
Okay.
So the first one is okay. So who does Braithwaite actually work for? I couldn't figure this out watching. Who does Braithwaite actually work for?
Yeah, so that was tough for me, man. I'm thinking that it has to be some type of spy agency that's off the books. He is British, and the island that they
Mhm.
showed is off the coast of mainland China. So I was thinking it was Thailand. So with that being said, I have to think that he works as some type of agent off the books for MI6.
MI6. Okay. They were never really
Yeah,
clear.
definitely.
So I just, yeah, I just thought that was an interesting point. All right. So next question is, wouldn't Han have recognized Bruce's fighting style since they were both Shaolin monks
See,
or trained by Shaolin monks?
and I was thinking the same thing too early on, but after watching it for the 1 billionth time already, I'm now under the impression that Bruce Lee is so much of a prodigy that now where everybody was going right, he went left, took it to unparalleled heights, and therefore he didn't recognize the style that was being taught.
Got it. Okay. All right. And then this is my last question. This one is going to be it's interesting because I want to hear how you're going to respond to this
Hmm.
one. So, what are your five favorite martial arts films? And I'm saying five,
Yeah.
not six,
Hmm.
not six and a half, not four and three quarters, five. And you don't have to rank. You don't have to give me one to five, like ranking them, because that could be difficult. But give me your five that you got,
Yeah. So number five is Game of
or you could
Death.
give them in order too.
Game
Okay,
number
Game
5 is
of
Game
Death.
of Death.
Okay,
And that's just because, like, I love the aspect of instead of a tournament, it's a life or death tournament, and it's escalating, and so you get
yeah,
to
up the
see
up
the
the hill, up the
similes and the
floors.
metaphors of him going up to the different floors, and seeing Kareem Abdul-Jabbar literally on, like, kicking him and leaving a footprint maybe this size
Hmm.
in his chest.
Hmm.
Like, that did it for me, yo.
Yeah,
Um
and then like that outfit was taken, and then that became a part of the Quentin
Yes,
Tarantino joint,
yes,
the movie
what is it?
Kill
Kill
Bill,
Bill,
Kill Bill,
part 1, 1
Kill
and
Bill. Yeah.
2. Yeah,
Yep.
definitely. AKA The Bride. Number 4, Fist of Fury. Another Bruce Lee flick, man. Uh,
Okay. I'm noticing a trend here.
yeah. But now I'm about to break it up a little bit. Um, this may be controversial for some, but number 3 for me is, and drum roll please, I'm running with Five Deadly Venoms.
Oh,
This jo
okay. Classic.
this
It's a
joint
classic.
did, yeah, definitely.
It's a
Mo
classic.
I saw this with my dad on Fox 5,
Hmm.
Saturday afternoon, and I was like,
Classic. Classic movie.
I thought I could do all those moves, and I was out
Hmm.
there. Oh, man. Uh, number 2 is Golden Arms. I saw this with an ex-girlfriend, and she put me onto it, and once I started hearing, like, the actual, like, verbiage, I was like, "Oh, that's from this song from the Wu-Tang. That's from this, that's" like,
Yeah.
The Kid with the Golden
Yeah.
Arms. Um,
You got.
yeah,
Yeah.
like, that really did it for me. Golden Arms doesn't need weapons. He has his arms. He thinks it's cheating.
Hmm.
Like, that whole scene, he ran through us like he was nothing. Like, that whole that entire movie, man, off the meter. And number 1, I don't care who you are. It's not even a debate. You can't do anything to me. I'm not moving from my pivot. This is my square. The 10 Tigers of Quang Tiang.
See now that's interesting. I've never seen that. What
First of all, that's
the,
where
the
every line comes from the Wu-Tang. Chess boxing, everything. The Shaolin
wait,
sword.
what's it
Like,
what's it called again? What's that one
yeah,
called
it's the
again?
10 Tigers from Quang Tung.
10 tigers from Queen Tongue. That's interesting. Okay, cool. I'm gonna have to check that out.
Greatest
That's a
movie.
good
I
one.
have that on VHS. That's how much I love this.
Great. Yo, what I love about that list is that's classic.
Mm,
That's like you didn't like,
mm,
you didn't put John Wick 3 on that joint.
nah, nah.
like you picked real classic
Yeah.
movies. All right, cool. All right, so that's my questions. That's what I got. What you got for me?
All right, so I'm going light today, man. My first joint is the scene with Roper is inspiring this question. Do you think that you could walk away from everything you have in a moment's notice with $64.36 37 cents?
No, I can't pull that off, man. That's a no. I can't do it. Number one, I can't do it. Number two, what I just realized is that Heat, the movie Heat,
Mm,
pulls from that
mhm,
because you know the thing about Heat, never have anything that you can't run out on in 30 seconds or less if you feel the heat coming around the
mhm.
corner comes from that. So Roper was a part of that. I'm not, so no, I can't do that. Matter of fact, I don't even know if I can get to the Metro for $60. I might not even get that far. So that's where that is.
Oh, my second question is, there's the scene in which, Han is holding his cat, puts it on the guillotine, and he says to Roper, initially before doing so,
I
consider
remember
it
this
an
scene.
act of trust. And Roper says, "My trust only goes so far." Right. The overall gist of that scene is, what are your limitations? So, CJ,
Mhm.
I'm asking you, would you feel comfortable being able to be in that same position and put your head down on a guillotine?
No, I'm not trusting this dude, man. No, absolutely not. First of all, Han is a villain, man. You know this because when Han walks into the room, everybody freezes. Like all the people in his on his island freeze when he comes. He's a villain. I'm not trying. First of all, I'm not going downstairs to talk with him. No, I'm like, nah, man. I want to talk with you outside amongst other people. No, I'm not going to no secret room with you. And like, you can't trust nobody like that. No, I'm not doing that. No, man. And I'll tell you what, that cat would have been SOL because I'm not trusting. I'm gonna put my hands down here and you're not gonna pull the thing
Pull it
in.
down real
Like,
quick.
right, you're already wearing a glove. Like, I'm not messing with you. Come on.
Well, to his credit, though, Han only lost his hand because he was shot, and Braithwaite talks about that when he says that's the reason
That's
why he
fine.
doesn't like guns because he
Yeah,
had a bad
yeah.
experience.
I
Oh,
got you, but I would like having both my hands. So no, I'm not doing it. I'm not messing with you like that.
and
Mm-mm.
oh man, and my last but definitely not least question is: like Han, if you own the island, would you use it for evil purposes and maniacal schemes, or would you be on some benevolent type joint? What would you use that island for if that was on you?
It wouldn't be for evil and it wouldn't be for benevolence either. I think this is what I would do, man. I would Airbnb island that joint and I would rent out half the island to famous people for them to do vacations.
Mm,
And I would stay on the other side of the island and I would just collect the benefits and collect the money from it. That's what I would do.
I dig it, man.
So I would Airbnb island it.
I'm
That would be it. I wouldn't even mess with the rest of it.
um
I wouldn't try to start a crime syndicate. I wouldn't have a martial arts tournament. I wouldn't do none of that. That's you wilding for that.
You're not trying to start no what was it? Fire, the joint with Ja Rule and
The
them.
Fire
Yeah, the
Festival.
Fire
Oh my
Festival
god.
joint.
That's an amazing documentary,
Mm.
but no, I wouldn't do that. Well, no, I wouldn't do
Mm.
that. No, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that anyway. All right, so look, let's get into the popcorn on this. Not even a surprise. On this one, I'm giving it 4.5.
Mm.
It's just a great movie. It's really, really well done. I really like it and I really enjoyed watching it. So 4.5 for me.
I can appreciate that, man. Obviously, I'm going classic. 5 boxes. This is one of my favorite movies of all time. I don't care a
It's a
genre,
great
whatever have
movie.
you. Favorite movies of all time. Um, yeah, definitely, man. Memorable.
Yeah, it's a great movie, and it's also I like that we covered something that was kind of outside the norm.
Yeah.
Like this is the first real martial arts movie that we covered, and it being Enter the Dragon is like just a great one for us to cover. So, yeah, good stuff, man. Really, really entertaining, and like I said, once again, entertaining beyond martial arts. Some movies are
Hmm.
just not good if they're not fighting, and some movies are just all fighting because of that.
Yeah.
This movie is still very interesting outside the tournament, outside the martial arts part. So really good stuff, man. You want to just cover the themes real quick before we wrap this joint up?
Yeah, man. So some of the things that we've already discussed, you've already heard it played a million times, but something new and refreshing that I want to go down. We're talking about mentorship, brotherhood, equality, freedom, creativity, craftsmanship, dedication, respect, human nature, retaliation, fairness, lust, and greed. And there's a plethora of other themes in this classic film, but we don't have enough time to discuss them, and I would be here forever. So definitely give this a look out. Again, you can check this on multiple platforms, readily available. Free 99. Depends on what you got, but 3.99
Yeah.
definitely. if you're into Amazon, YouTube, or Apple TV.
Yep. And with that said, so next week we are going to cover another classic. We are going to talk about The Matrix.
Ooh,
So
20
you know,
years.
some people say, right, 20 years this week. Some people say The Matrix is a documentary. We're gonna check it out.
Could
We're gonna
be.
check it out and talk it out next week. So please join us for that discussion as well. Once again, the Sticky Floors podcast is available wherever you get your podcasts. We are on Apple Podcasts. We are on Spotify. We are now on YouTube.
Yes, sir.
Please like, subscribe, comments, because your comments help us to do this better. Peace.